Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of As Good as It Gets with my great friend Derrick Gervin. I'm Rickey Hampton. It's been a while. Derrick, I hadn't seen you since last year, man. Literally, I ain't seen you since last year. It's been a minute, brother. How you doing? Oh, man, we're having some technical difficulties here. Let's see.
I
D,
don't know why it keeps taking me out.
yeah. Let's see.
I can hear you clear.
Yeah, we're good. We're good now.
Okay, okay,
And I
okay.
was just welcoming everybody in. It's been a while. I was saying, Derrick, we haven't been on since last year, man.
Well, yeah, that's at least 15 days. No, well, first of all, I want to tell. I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. It's good to be back. I've been waiting. I've been excited. I know you've been enjoying yourself, which is a great thing, and I was ready to get it on tonight.
Yeah, man. Uh, let's just get caught up and get your thoughts on what's been going on in the world of sports. I know, like me, you're a big Detroit Lions fan, so I know you've been watching a lot of football over the last few weeks, and now we're headed into the conference semifinal games this weekend. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, I got to give our shout out to our Lions, man, the Red Wings and our Pistons. They've been playing some ball, so I've been excited. But I think, Ricky, this game, I've heard a couple people, even Dan Orlovsky, who's, of course, is a former quarterback for the Lions.
Yeah,
I've heard him picking the Commanders to win this game, and I don't believe that at all. I believe that Jalen Daniels is a very good quarterback, a future superstar in this league if he stays healthy. But he has his work cut out for him this weekend. We getting Mr. Montgomery back in the backfield. And, when we had, to me, they're the three horsemen, when we got Goff, Gibbs, and Montgomery. And for me,
yeah,
that's what was going to win us the Super Bowl. So I think we just have to basically make Jaden beat us, take away the running game, because they're going to try to run. They do a lot of no-huddle offense. And they know our defense has been actually, Ricky, ranked 32nd in the league, when the teams go at the quick huddle. But I
yeah.
think we'll be prepared for that. We've had 14, 15 guys out all year. So we're
Yeah.
continuing to get better. I'm glad the young man came back last year. His name starts with an A. Came back last week in the defensive secondary.
Anzalone.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was huge. That was huge. And I think we take away their running game. We make the rookie beat us. And I think Detroit rolls on again.
You know,
Ford Field, here we come.
it's curious. Here's some of the commenters because that's how. What are the Lions going to do about the command? What are the Commanders going to do about the Lions' offense?
Hey, prisoners of the moment, Ricky.
I mean, that is very true. That is very true. I mean, what are you going to do with these guys? But I think the best team out there right now are the Baltimore Ravens. I think they're on a mission, and Lamar's had his struggles in the playoffs. He got a big test Sunday when they play the Ravens. What's your thought on that one?
Well, I haven't been able to tell
when the
people.
Ravens play the Bills.
Well, I haven't been able to tell people on here because we haven't been on the show. But from preseason, I picked the Bills versus the Lions in the Super Bowl, and I'm not going to back out on my choice. I still think Buffalo wins this game. It's going to be like 6 or 7 degrees at game time, and of course they're playing in Buffalo, and I think that's a huge edge. The way you beat Baltimore is you keep them off the field, and I think we have the quarterback who can do that. I think Josh Allen is one of the smartest quarterbacks in the league. Of course, he's been having an MVP year as well as Lamar, and I think they move the ball against the Ravens. They use up some time on the clock, and they limit Derrick Henry. He won't get 189 yards this game like he did the first game earlier in the season when they played. And the Bills move on, so they can one step closer to the Detroit Lions.
You like the Bills? I like the Ravens. I like the Lions against the Commanders coming here. And some of those stats, like them being ranked 32nd against no huddle offense, that's because so many people have to play no huddle because they're always 10, 20 points behind them at the end. Right? I mean, that is true.
Is it true? Yeah.
Against Detroit. So we both got the Lions. I like the Ravens. You like the Bills. Rams and Eagles.
That's a tough one for me because I know the Eagles are a big favorite. But when you got these guys that can rush on the edges for the Rams, I think they can possibly take away the Saquon Barkley. Not completely take him away, but I think they can limit Saquon Barkley. I still don't believe in Jalen Hurts. I believe if you make Jalen Hurts have to beat you by passing the ball, they're not the same team. And I think it's going to be a really good game. I'm going to pick the upset. I think Sean McVay going to have those guys ready. I think Matt Stafford, who we already know, has been proven to be a winner, has won a Super Bowl. I'm going to take the upset in this game. I'm going to take the Rams.
Yeah, doggone it. I'm with you. Just the firepower of Matthew, veteran guy, and that defense. You're right. Verse, those young guys they got on that defensive line for the Rams could cause Philly trouble. Philly's been winning, but their offense has not been as. Saquon's been great. But if you, just like you said, I agree totally. If you make Jalen have to make a lot of plays, he will throw you one or two balls that you can pick him off.
Yeah. Take AJ Brown out the game. Take him out the game, and then he'll take himself out mentally.
Yeah. Chiefs and Texans. That'll be the Saturday game. The Saturday game's Chiefs, Texans, Lions, Commanders.
Stephen A. Smith, I just watched him 5 minutes before I came on the air. No exaggeration, 5 minutes. He swears that they don't even have a chance to win this game. And I can't believe that because the Texans, if you look at early in the year, they got off to a good start. They kind of hit a dry spell in the middle of the season, just like the Commanders. And then they got back on their feet. And I think when you have a guy like C.J. Stroud, it keeps you in the game. The only thing that bothers me is on the other side of the field, you got a home field advantage. You got Andy Reid and you have Patrick Mahomes. So as much as I like the Texans, I think it's going to be really, really hard for them to win in Kansas City. I'm going to take the Chiefs.
Yeah, it's going to be cold in Kansas City this weekend too. So we'll come back next week and we'll talk about what happened. And we'll see what's happening in the conference championship games.
Hey, Ricky.
Yeah.
Hey, Rick, I've been picking them pretty good, man. You know, I do my other show with my friend here in San Antonio, and there's three of us. And one of the guys is in Indianapolis, so we make our picks. I kicks their butt, so I love them to death. But I've been on my game with these picks.
You're on the road. That's typically par for the course for you. But D, we haven't been on in a while. Just your thoughts on the season so far. What have you been surprised to see? And what team has surprised you? What team has disappointed you? What players have you liked?
The team that's disappointed me and surprised me the most is the Cincinnati Bengals. I just thought when you have Joe Burrow, who I have in the top three quarterbacks in the league, and when you have Joe Burrow and you got Jamar Chase, that's an offense that has been pretty good. Not up to the level of expectations that I had for them this year, but they were really good. The defense let them down. And as you know, it's hard to play catch up. Cincinnati was playing catch up all year. They started off really, bad, and they had to win, I believe, their last 5 games to even have an opportunity to get into the playoffs. So that's been my biggest surprise. And as far as overall, man, Mike Tomlin, the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's been some things going on, like a coaching carousel going on right now, Ricky, and I'm not too happy about that. And I'm going to be honest about it. We own the African-American Athlete Station. I don't like the fact that Antonio Pierce was given 1 year with nothing to play. You got Garner Minshew as your quarterback. So you've been put in there, for failure, and then the team struggles. I mean, it's the Raiders, and then you fire him. And then in New England, you got Jared Mayo, who was given the same situation, didn't even have a quarterback at first. And I mean, so that kind of ticks me off. Now they finally got a quarterback, Drake May, but they didn't insert him into the lineup till the season was basically already done for them. And then you fire these 2 black coaches. And what I really don't like about it is now you're going to have it where they might not be able to get another head coaching job. And to me, that was a setup. I'm so tired of these token interviews. Thank goodness Aaron Glenn was smart enough not to take his token interview with the Cowboys. But I'm tired to see these guys get shafted like that, basically, Ricky. And then you give the other coaches 3 years before you even think about getting rid of them. Even Mr. Peterson, who they fired, Doug Peterson, they give him all 3 years at least, but they give certain guys 1 year, and then they get them out of there. And as we know, guys don't get rehired. Eric Bieniemy hasn't coached yet.
That leash is short for black coaches. I mean, there's no doubt about that, man. I'm just trying. Hey, let's talk some NBA. I'm actually trying to get my Pistons on my TV now.
Well, they play 40 games.
Yeah, but
21 and 19 after 40.
Yeah, and they won 14 games last year. So you figured they had to get a little better. But I didn't think they could get this better this quickly. Looks like they're going to
Ricky, they were 3. Ricky, they were 3-36 at this time last year.
Damn.
So 18-game turnaround. So what? 3-36, and now they're 21. Well, now they're 21-19. So they played an extra game. Mr. Bickerstaff deserves a lot of credit. Trajan Langdon deserves a lot of credit, but more so than those 2, the guys have they played well. Cade is having an all-star year. Actually, to me, Cade has been one of the top 5 players in the NBA this year. And then we got Malik Beasley. Malik Beasley shooting the ball like all of a sudden he started thinking his last name was Curry. Yeah. Hey, and the guy, they've been rolling. They've been rolling on all cylinders.
There's a guy like Beasley who's been, a role player most of his career. He comes to a team that really only has one established star, and they got some other good players. Tobias Harris is above average,
He's been up and down,
Yeah, but Beasley comes here and said, hey, I'm going to get star-like shots at this. He goes from being a role guy to playing a much larger role, and he's taking advantage of it.
Do you remember a few years ago how Denver won their championship and how people still don't talk about how important Bruce Brown and Jeff Green were?
Right.
So you had a coach that really believes in you, and it's the same. Malik Beasley could always shoot the ball, but he had to look over his shoulder before. And now he's in a situation, he's a veteran. The coach is going to lean on his leadership. You put him with Cade. You got Jaden Ivey. We got a pretty good backcourt tandem, the threesome, and then you got the front court is still a little sketchy for me, Ricky. Duran is they kind of up and down. Isaiah Stewart might be on the trading block. I don't know, but Fontecchio has struggled sometime. If we could get consistency in the front court, then we'll be a playoff team. I still think we're going to be a playoff team, but we could use some improvement in the front court. And if we could get that, man, the Pistons are going to be tough. We're not going to win the championship this year, but just for us being in the mix would be a very good improvement. We lost 28 in a row last year, so we're not doing that this year.
I tell you, some nights Monty was just standing out there like, let's just get this over with.
Do you know where Monty is now?
Where?
He's down here coaching high school.
Is he?
They got rid of Bruce. They got rid of Bruce Bowen, and now so Monty's coaching now. So he's getting a chance to coach his sons. He's getting a chance to coach. I think Tim Duncan's son goes there, so he's getting a chance to coach. But he's
one of these
in high school.
Is this one of these?
He's Texas Military Institute.
Gotcha. So, D, have you ever thought about coaching high school basketball?
I actually sent in my resume recently, Ricky, but I only want to coach like a Christian school. Well, not the bigger schools. The 5A. Our 5A is like public school league here, 5 and 6A. I just want to coach the guys that don't really get a chance, and at these Christian schools where I don't have to worry about the behavior and them fighting and all that kind of stuff. A school where they still shake hands after the game.
Right.
So yeah, wish me good luck, man.
Academics still means something. Man.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Nobody's worried about their NIL deals they playing because they love the game.
They not even thinking about that, Rick. They worried about if they're going to be an accountant or engineer or whatever that may be. And I enjoy that a lot more because I get to talk to them a lot about life skills, and they listen.
Man, you would be so great at that, D. I hope that
Thank you. Thank you.
Your basketball knowledge. But hey, we hadn't talked to the NBA. Again, we hadn't been on in a while. Your thoughts on what you've been seeing around the league so far this year?
Well, I got to start in Cleveland. Those Cavaliers, oh boy. They've matured. We could see they had a good team last year and the year before, but come playoff time, they kind of, fell apart. And now I look at them this year. Evan Mobley is playing like an all-star. He's been one of the top 4 big men in the league for me, behind with Jokic, Giannis, and Karl Anthony Towns. So you put him in there. Donovan Mitchell has not even had to carry the scoring load like he has in the past few years. Everybody's been stepping up. They can actually go 11 guys deep. And I've been watching their team. When you can go 11 deep without it hurting your lineup, Ricky, that's a total bonus. We don't have that in Detroit yet. So that's a team that's consistent, that you don't wear out your starters because they get chances to rest, and the other guys just come in and they just play the game really well. So I have to start off with them. But it's been an interesting year.
34-5 so far.
Oh, they've been fantastic. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you got teams like the Lakers and Steph and Phoenix. I'm going to mention the Lakers, Warriors, and Phoenix because those are 3 guys that I think maybe will play 2 more years maximum. Steph Curry, KD, and LeBron. And their teams aren't doing very well. So my point in that is it looks like a changing of the guard. And what we're seeing right now out of Cleveland, Oklahoma City, what they're doing is very impressive. I don't think either team is going to have a drop-off. And then we have to see what's going to happen as the season progresses with the Boston Celtics. So it's going to be an interesting year.
But Derrick, they are doing this. Oklahoma City is 33-6 without Chet Holmgren. It's like they've been even better with him not in the lineup.
Well, they brought in Isaiah Hardenstein from the Knicks. And then you got my guy. I told you before, if you remember, there's a young man that used to play with UTSA a couple years ago by the name of Keaton Wallace. Keaton's brother plays for Oklahoma City in the backcourt, Kason Wallace. He was a number 1 draft. He was a first-round draft pick last year. And to see him play, he's the one kind of taking Alex Caruso's minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So they got a well-rounded team. You got Lou Dort, who should be in the Defensive Player of the Year rankings. You got Shea, of course, who might be the MVP if the season ended today, either him or Jokic. And you got a team that they defends. They get along very, very well. And you got a team that believes in themselves. And Mark Daignault, who I think is a fantastic coach. He's young, but he's fantastic. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with as we go down the second half of the season.
Yeah, they're sitting atop at 33-12. And another surprise team, Houston Rockets, 27-12.
Well, is that really a surprise, Ricky? Is that really a surprise, Ricky? Because who's their head coach?
Who's their head coach?
Ime Udoka.
Udoka, yeah.
We know the only reason Udoka left Boston was because of some transgressions. Yeah. It wasn't because of his coaching or lack of coaching.
Yeah.
So he has the guys believing in themselves. And then you got Alfred Sengun, Jalen Green. They got some young horses. Fred VanVleet, so they have some leadership. They're a good team, and they've been a tough team in the Western Conference. I don't know if they can keep it up in the second half of the year, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did.
Yeah, they're sitting there at 27-12 in the number 3 spot. John Moran is back, and so is Memphis at 26-15. Denver sitting in the 4th spot at 24-16. And the Clippers, 22-17. And once again, man, we're trying to get some consistency from Kawhi. I guess he's never going to be a full-time player anymore, is he, Derrick?
My guy's never be the same. But Ricky, I got to give a quick shout out to Russell Westbrook, because you know I'm not a huge fan.
Yeah.
And so I also have to give a shout out to Mike Malone for putting him in a position to succeed.
Yeah.
If you remember with the Lakers, Russ had the ball in his hands a lot, and that didn't work. And then they start moving him off the ball, so he was just standing in the corner because, you know, LeBron's got to have the ball. So Russ was just basically not playing effectively, not the way he used to playing. But now he doesn't have to handle the ball, Ricky. He's got a guy, as you know, might be the best passing big man in history.
Yeah.
And it's made it so much easier for Russ. He could be more of an athlete now, a guy who cuts to the basket for his, you know, he's a good slasher to the basket. And when you got a guy like Jokic that can get you the ball, that makes you so much a better player. So I know even I was writing Russ off last year, and several other people were writing him off. But Jokic has saved the day. So it shows me the difference between playing with Jokic and the difference between playing with LeBron. LeBron kind of makes guys, he doesn't use guys. He's been given a lot of credit, but if you look at him, he's run off a lot of players. And there's other players that just don't play very effective with him, like a Mario Chalmers, those kind of guys. And when you play with Jokic, he makes you better.
Hey, Derrick, I think the most disappointing team this year has to be Philly.
The team that drafted me, huh?
Right, yeah. Right.
They're
15-24. They've lost 4 straight. Once again, availability of Embiid. I mean,
you get rid of Tobias, who, as we know, is a very good locker room guy. The stuff that people don't talk about. You get rid of Paul Reed, who was another guy who could back up Jokic, back up Embiid and do several things. And then you bring in Paul George. And Paul hasn't looked well. Him and Kawhi both. Neither one of them has looked great. So you bring in Paul. You pay him $53 million a year. So it's going to be hard to get other players. And Embiid, you got a center who's been in the MVP voting the last 3 years, who comes before he even comes back. He tells people publicly that he's not going to be playing back-to-back games. So
as a teammate, how would you feel?
it's ridiculous. I always talk to you about in the locker room, the stuff that not on the floor, just on the floor. You got your MVP, one of the best players in the league. The man scored 70 points last year against Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs. And then you sitting out all the time and you're saying you're not going to play back to back. How do you know your body's not going to get better where you can play back to back? Why would you make a statement like that? I'm sure he has Nick Nurse pulling his hair out.
So it's one thing, okay, I'm gonna give it a go. If you would be more understanding, you know he's got bad knees. You would be understanding if he couldn't. Oh man, I just ain't got it tonight. All right, but just to announce it just from the very beginning.
If he quit tripping people, his knees might not be such bad shape. You know, Joel can do some dirty stuff out there, man. But his knees have been a problem since college, actually. But they still took a gamble on him. When he was at Kansas, he had some injury issues. But when you notice, Ricky, when he plays, you know, sometimes he plays hard and sometimes he doesn't. And they paid Joel. They've thrown the bank to him. You know, they basically opened up the vault for him. And I don't know. I'm questioning whether I'll get to it later, but does he won't even really play basketball? Him and Zion, I don't even know if they love the game, man. I got to be honest. Just going by what I see.
I think it's a lot of guys you could question in today's game. And your generation, you just did not see that. Your generation,
and they question
NBA players, you didn't see it.
But these are the same guys that question Ben Simmons.
Right.
Joel, remember when he left Philadelphia, Joel was almost doing cartwheels. And now he's in the same situation as Ben. Ben is actually playing now. And Joel is in and out the lineup. And Philadelphia needs a butt whoop because they gave that man almost, I think his salary is it's like $69 million a year starting next year. And they're going to regret that. And then Paul George, playoff P, as he calls himself. He's been looking like playoff P, but P-E-E. I'm sorry.
Man. Yeah, that's just, I mean, and I would be disgusted if I was a Sixer fan. To know this guy is doing that. And that's a great point you make. You don't know how you're going to feel, and you just calling it already. And you know, Philly is like Detroit. And you've been there, you spent time there. People work hard for their money, and they want to see other people work hard for their money. And Derrick, he never seems in shape to me.
Ricky, it bothers me. You just said it, never in shape. But what bothers me, and I know the owners, a lot of times, you know, the owners make money. So on that part of the spectrum, I'm not upset. But what I'm trying to understand is he didn't say any of this about playing not playing it back-to-backs before they gave him that $69 million a year, that $345 million contract. And then right after that, he starts talking about he's not going to play back-to-back. And it saddens me because he's got another all-star, Tyrese Maxey, and he's not helping doing his part. You know, he's putting an extra burden on these guys. He's not carrying his part of the load. And it saddens me because me being drafted by Philly and, you know, the great Dr. J and Moses Malone and Allen Iverson and Charles Barkley and all those guys coming out of there, Andrew Toney, Mo Cheeks, there's more expectations in Philadelphia. And to see Joel do this basically to the team, he's tearing the team apart just by himself.
Hey, I'm just reading this, D. The great Gus Johnson has passed. Gus Williams.
Yes.
Passed away. He passed away on Wednesday, age 71. And man, he was fun to watch. Those of you out there never saw Gus Williams play, thank goodness for YouTube. Go check him out. Your thoughts on Gus, Derrick?
I already made some. I made a post earlier on Facebook when I got the news. The Wizard, they called him the
The
Wizard.
Wizard.
It's I'm a big fan because he was playing in the backcourt, in Seattle. You had Fred Brown, downtown Freddie Brown. They had a really good team back
And
then.
DJ
With the
was there
Spurs,
too.
yeah, Dennis Johnson in the backcourt with Gus. The Spurs were one game away from meeting them, Ricky. If you remember, George and them led the Washington Bullets, who were the Bullets at that time, with Alvin Hayes and Wes Unseld. We had them 3-1. So I'm still living in Detroit. My mom and my sister and myself were packing our bags. We had already packed our luggage, getting ready to travel to Seattle, and the Spurs blow that 3-1 lead. And who are we going to go play? The Seattle Supersonics, featuring Gus Williams. And I want to say a shout out to his family because, as you know, there was Gus Williams and there was also Ray Williams.
Yeah.
And it's rare to have one guy in the NBA, but to have two young men that play very well. Ray, of course, New York Knicks days, and then Gus being an all-star in Seattle. I'm going to miss him because he was I was a big fan, and he's one of the fastest guys that ever played, Ricky. He could do things with that ball at 6'2". He was the Wizard. I can't say much more, and I just want to send my condolences to his family.
Yeah, I'm trying to see where he played in college. Where did Gus play? He played in the Pac-8, I know. He was at USC. He played at USC. Yes. And they recently retired his jersey.
I'm glad they did.
Yeah. In 2016, USC retired his jersey.
You know how hard it is to keep a name when someone gives you a name like that, and you maintain that name from to eternity. The Wizard.
The Wizard.
So yeah, he will be missed.
And hey, to get your jersey retired, we did congratulate you on that. We took a little hiatus, man. And
October 18th, my man. I was told the guy. I did an interview with a guy from France today. So, in that language, man, I was hearing these guys talk. The guy started talking to me in French for a minute. I had to ask the other guys. He talking to me in French, but they congratulated me. October the 18th was the day. I got to give a shout out to UTSA once again. I'm thanking them with all my love. That's something that can never be taken away from me, Ricky. As you know, they retired my jersey in 2006, and then now to get to go in the Hall of Fame in 2024. My mom and dad are smiling down on me.
Absolutely. Hey Derrick, the team with the worst record in the West are the New Orleans.
Washington? Oh,
no, in the West, New Orleans at 10-32. And there's been more and more talk about possibly trading Zion, but who would acquire him? I mean, because
hopefully
can you trust him to be there?
Hey, hopefully no city with really good food places. I'm gonna start calling him. I'm gonna start calling him Buffet, Zion Buffet Williamson. Just another guy. I don't understand it because if you remember, they were showing videos of Zion before the season started. How svelte he was looking out, like he had lost weight and all that.
Yeah. And
then the season comes, and once again he starts pulling no shows. And he's tore that team apart, Ricky. And then, it's not all his fault. Brandon Ingram had some injury issues this year. C.J. McCollum has lost a step. And they really don't have a big man. They've been struggling. I hope it turns around. And I'm going to be honest with you, Ricky. I don't want Willie Green to lose his job. I think Willie Green is a fantastic coach. And as you know, a native Detroiter. And they've been struggling. They brought in Swing Cash in the upper management, and it's been a struggle. But when you don't know what's happening with your franchise player, most teams are going to struggle. So Zion is not much different to me right now than Joel Embiid.
Right.
He had the nerve. He's played 7 games this year. I don't know if you know that. He's played 7 games, and then a few days ago he had the nerve to be late for them to fly out or whatever. He's late. Now, how can you be late and you play 7 games? That's telling me that you're not thinking about your teammates. You're not thinking about the organization. You're strictly thinking about yourself, and that's a lack of immaturity. That's the immaturity.
Hey, Derek, do you think that, these guys make an extraordinary, they're making extraordinary amounts of money. Do you think that takes some of the love or makes them too casual or comfortable?
Make some of them content, Ricky.
Content.
Some of them it does, but majority of the guys continue to play so they can get another contract and another contract and another contract. It's rare. You got your guys like even James Harden's been playing a lot this year. You haven't heard anything about him sitting out or him complaining with the Clippers and wants to be traded and all that. But you got some guys. I think they really played the game so they could secure their families financially, and they didn't really love the game. It was just something that they were really good at, like Ben Simmons. I don't think Ben loves the game. I'm being honest. I don't really think Joel loves the game. I don't think Jimmy Butler really loves the game. And I don't think Zion really loves the game. I think those are guys that just wanted to acquire some wealth and then basically just coast the rest of their careers. When guys like that don't care if they win championships or not. And I hate to say that, but I can only go by what I see. So, yeah, it's a few guys that are just collecting those checks. I won't put Kawhi in there because I know the situation with him when he's in San Antonio, and he did have a serious injury, and he's injured it several times. But those other guys, man, I don't think they really care if they win or lose.
Yeah, yeah, and that's something new. You know, back in the day, you just didn't hear about. You would hear about, and I think this was media hype. Joe Barely Cares talking about Joe Barry Carroll, but you know, you would know better than me, there.
No, I'm laughing because today, when I did this show from France, they gave me a surprise, and they brought on one of my other teammates, was Roy Henson. And if you know, when I went to the in New Jersey, Roy was in New Jersey at the time. Okay. And so when I got hurt, when I went from Santa Barbara to New Jersey, I basically went because Roy Henson was the one who got hurt. So they had an open spot. And so I got there and I met Roy. I didn't want to see him hurt. I was a big fan when he was at Rutgers. And so today we're talking, and I'm talking to Roy, haven't talked to him in 30 years. And what's the first name I bring up? Joe Barry Carroll. Because yesterday, I saw Joe Barry on Facebook yesterday taking a picture with the former Denver Nugget president and general manager Pete Babcock. So I was just talking about JB yesterday. He's the first guy that told me about the NBA being a business, Ricky. The first person ever told me that was Joe Barry Carroll.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Do you think he's going to get traded? And do you think he has any value on the trade market?
Yeah, because you always got some team out there that's still. If Jordan Poole could get picked up and go be a first option, yes. Yeah, so you bringing in a headache right away, and you see what that's doing to Washington. I got a friend whose son is on Washington. He's just wasting away on the bench. But yeah, Zion. The question is his how much value. Someone out there would take him. I've heard some rumblings about the Knicks possibly. Now I don't see where he fits in with the Knicks because they had problems with Julius Randle, and I know they play a different type of game, but I'm just trying to figure where Zion fits in to the Knicks because he clogs up. That's going to clog up the lane, and it's going to make it hard for guys like OG Anunoby, Jalen Brunson, because Zion is not an outside shooter.
Right.
So and he's not a great defender. So I don't really know how that moves the needle for the Knicks. But that's the team I've been hearing about. I believe he wants to play in a big market, but I can't see it. But maybe the team like the Lakers or someone might, or Golden State might try to see if they can make something happen. I don't think it would work, but we'll see. That something's going to has to give. Something has to give.
Derrick, you mentioned Jimmy Butler a few minutes ago. What do you think this whole situation in Miami is doing to his legacy as a player? Like, do guys even care about that now? Because, like I said, they got so much money.
They didn't give him that deal that he wanted last year. His extension. They didn't. They wanted to He wanted to renegotiate to get a 4-year extension. And Pat Riley. If Pat Riley let LeBron walk, I mean, what else do I have to say? He's not the type guy that you're going to bully. Pat Riley's old school. And so Jimmy's not going to be the dictator when it comes to that type of situation. Eric Spoelstra and Pat Riley have a really good bond together, and Jimmy's not going to upset that. And when you go to the Miami Heat, they expect you to fall in line. I know Jimmy's thinking about because of the playoffs. Now, you got to be honest, Ricky. You think about this. Jimmy Butler has a name that he acquired in the playoffs, Jimmy Buckets, right? But how hard and how often do you hear about Jimmy Butler during the regular season?
Right.
So to me, he's coasting through the regular season, and then he turns it on in the playoffs. That's not the kind of player that I want to pay a salary. I'm paying you for 82 games to play hard every night. And Jimmy has a habit of not doing that. And then he's upset that Pat Riley wouldn't budge and give him a new contract. So you see they suspended him for 7 games. Something's going to happen. He should be getting near the end of his suspension now.
He's got one more game.
They got to they got to make a trade. It's probably going to end up being a 3-team trade. I don't think the Phoenix trade is going to happen because I don't even know if Bradley Beal is going to waive his no trade clause. There's only 2 guys in the league with no trade clauses. That's Bradley Beal and LeBron. So I don't even know if he's going to waive his no trade clause. But Miami has to make something happen because they can't let Jimmy continue to sabotage the organization.
Who could he go help that's trying to win a championship? I guess he probably helps a lot of teams, right? But is that
that's trying to win a championship? Wow. Cleveland's 11 deep. I would say a team, and you know who I would say, and he played with them before, but Karl Anthony Towns was there at the time. I think he could really help. For me, it's 2 teams he could help the most. The Dallas Mavericks, and both of them are in the West, the Dallas Mavericks and the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think he fits perfectly with them. I think Anthony Edwards would be happy to have him, a tough guy who's not going to back down from anyone. And I think the same if he went to play with the Mavericks. I think Luka and Kyrie would welcome him with open arms. A couple other guys might not be too happy, like a P.J. Washington or whoever it may be. But I think with Klay Thompson, Jimmy Butler, Kyrie Irving, and Luka Doncic, and then you got Derek Lively and Gafford under that basket, I think that makes them a much tougher team, a team that could possibly, play in the Western Conference Finals against Oklahoma City.
Hey, and we're going back. I'm going back a little bit because I hadn't seen you. Your thoughts on Mike Brown getting fired, D? This guy's a good coach. I guess it's more than good coaching.
I don't think it's his fault, though, Ricky. First of all, he's not the one that is the general. He didn't put on the general manager hat. So he's not the one that brought in DeMar DeRozan. I don't think DeMar fits their team. I'm a big DeMar DeRozan fan. He's a one-on-one machine, one of the best mid-range games ever. But I don't think that he fit into Sacramento. And then De'Aaron Fox doesn't look very happy. I said at the beginning of the year, and I told some people that De'Aaron Fox, and I said it 100%, Ricky, so I'm going to say it to you. I told people at the beginning of the year, De'Aaron Fox is going to be a San Antonio Spur next year. I said it before they even played any preseason games.
Wow.
Well, I got, I got some kind of insight. His wife is from San Antonio. So her dad was the guy in San Antonio that coached AAU basketball. So he didn't tell me anything. I just kind of pay attention to this stuff. And I know De'Aaron likes San Antonio. He flew a couple young ladies into his camp this past summer. And one of the young ladies was from the Houston area. And I think it was 3 young ladies. The other 2 were from the San Antonio area. So right then I was like, oh, boy. If De'Aaron's doing that kind of stuff and flying in some young people from Texas, he wants to be in San Antonio. And then I started thinking about his wife, who ended up playing for UCLA. Her name is Reese Caldwell. Well, now Reese Caldwell Fox. And I really believe that he's going to be here. So I saw the father-in-law in October, Ricky, at a woman's tournament that I went to check out. And I went to see this lady, Oscar Robertson's best friend. Name is Willie Merriweather. His daughter, his granddaughter coaches at, well, his 2 granddaughters coach at University of Cincinnati. Yeah. So I went to see them when they came in town. They were scouting some young high schoolers. And so De'Aaron Fox's father-in-law was there. So on my way out the door, he's out in the hallway out there where you have to pay at the desk and all that. And I'd say, hey, Ray, how you doing, Ray? And he was like, what's up, D? And I said, look here, Ray, I'm going to tell you something before I walk out this door. I already know your son-in-law going to be San Antonio Spurs next year. He said, D, don't put that on me, man. I didn't say that. I said, no, I know you didn't say it. And then he whispers to me, hey, but he does love it there, though. I say, well, and so I left it at that.
Transition from having Chris Paul to with Fox and Wembyana.
Chris Paul even said 2 weeks ago that he wouldn't mind De'Aaron Fox being here. I guess he doesn't think he would be leaving. Maybe Chris will accept the backup.
Chris Paul is a guy, he loves to play because he's not the superstar player anymore. He just enjoys being out there competing. And now he's playing more with this than anything when he's out there on the court.
I don't think he would have a problem. Kind of like Westbrook early this year. I don't think he would have a problem adjusting to coming off the bench if you can get a guy like De'Aaron Fox. Because that moves the needle right away. If you got a core of this rookie, they got Stephon Castle, De'Aaron Fox, and Wembanyama. That makes them a better team right then. And then you got a veteran, a proven veteran like Harrison Barnes. And then you build around those guys. But I think I really believe Fox is going to be here next year. You notice he didn't sign his extension in Sacramento. So they had a lot going on. So I'm not going to blame Mike Brown at all. I just think Mike Brown was up. Mike Brown's a proven winner. I mean, they hadn't won in 20-some years before they got Mike Brown. They've been a losing organization. So I'm not going to put all the blame on him. I think he was against a stacked deck. And I hope he catches on to another team, and I hope so very soon.
Derrick, you know, the Spurs are only 2 games out of the number 7 spot, and 2.5 games out of the 3 games out of the number 6 spot. So
well, you got the face of the league, the new face of the league. I don't know why people keep talking about Anthony Edwards, and they're just trying to create faces of the league. Victor Wembanyama is going to be the face of the league, and I think that's pretty obvious. The guy is shooting 16 threes. Ricky, what do you think of that, man? Today in 2025, you got a 7'4" guy out there shooting 15, 16 threes.
Yeah, I would rather him be. I'm old school, man. I'd rather him be in the post. I don't mind him shooting some. 16 is too many, though, D. Don't you think?
Yeah, I know. You get no argument from me. He is starting to post up more, though. I will give him credit. He is starting to get in that 12 to 15 feet, 12 feet area and starting to use his size a little more. But you got to understand why he doesn't, Ricky. It's still very easy to knock him off his gait. You know, he's still not the strongest guys, his legs.
Yeah.
So guys like Draymond can lean on him. They could push him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that affects him. So it's made him more of a perimeter, a guard. If you really look at his skills, Rick, he has guard skills.
Yeah, no doubt. And he has a beautiful
And well, that's the mentality he has. He has more of a. He doesn't have a David Robinson mindset, I'll say, or Patrick Ewing. The old school.
My son.
He has more of a. Well, he's like Karl Anthony Towns. Look at Karl Anthony Towns. He doesn't play much different. Look at Porzingis. Yeah. They like being out around the 3-point line.
My son has a 6'8" kid, biggest kid in this league. I mean, he is. And boy, he does not like to go down there and bang, man.
They don't like that contact, Ricky.
He's a good player, but he's gonna have to learn to get under there and rebound some too. And he's got a good shot. Hey, Derrick, we need to get out of here. One final question: have you had a chance to watch much of Cooper Flag? And did you think he's #1 pick next year?
Ooh, it's like four
He's
guys.
Obviously, he'll be a lottery top 5 pick.
I don't know at the last minute, but I'm gonna tell you 2 guys. One is Ron Harper's son. His son, Dylan Harper. He's gonna continue. He plays at Rutgers right now, and both guys are at Rutgers. The other one is Ace Bailey. I think they're in the running.
Ron Jr. plays for the Pistons G League team.
Who does?
Ron Harper Jr.
That's Ron Harper Jr. Yeah. He's not as good as the younger boy. The younger son, Dylan. Dylan is a monster. And so I'm looking at Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey as potentially going #1. But at the end of the day, I think the people are going to be too nervous to pass up on Cooper because of that body and that athleticism. So, yeah, I think at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, he'll be the first pick. Yeah, but you like his game? Yeah, I like him, but what gives him an advantage was when he played against the Team USA. He kind of held his own. And, yes, I like him. I've been keeping up with him since he was like a freshman or sophomore in high school. And, yeah, I think he's going to have I can't say he's going to be a superstar, but he's going to have a really good career. Okay. Hey, well, we are back. We'll be back next Thursday, 9 p.m. Until then, D, so good to see you, brother. And thank you everybody for tuning in. You've been watching As Good As It Gets. I'm Rick Hampton, Derrick Gervin. See you next time. Everybody have a good night. Stay safe.